What if I told you I had an honest-to-God, real-life vampire problem on my hands?
Who is he?
Not he. She.
My name is Rebecca Johns. I am a professor of English at DePaul University and the author of The Countess, a novel of Elizabeth Bathory. Like most people, I grew up with movie vampires. I knew Dracula as the pale-skinned man with the Eastern European accent wearing the cape.
Count Dracula lives off Sesame Street and likes to count things.
Rather attractive and charming, but ultimately very dangerous.
I kind of associated him more with Halloween and the fake teeth.
You don't ever know where he is, he just pops up, and then he's gone.
Many historians have tried to find the unmarked grave where Vlad Tepes, a.k.a. Dracula, rests, but to no avail.
Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler, as he's known, was actually not a vampire at all. He was an important prince of Wallachia and a general. His reputation came about because he was known to impale his enemies on wooden stakes and leave them along the roadside as a warning for anyone who might choose to challenge him. Scholars do tend to disagree on whether or not Bram Stoker knew much about Vlad Tepes and borrowed from his life in creating the fictional character of Dracula. What we know is that the one thing he did use was Vlad's name, Dracul, which stems from his membership in what's called the Order of the Dragon. What we also know is that vampires, like witches and werewolves, their legends tend to change and adapt to the times in which they're told.
And action!
The most famous vampire of all, Bram Stoker's Dracula, was actually a woman.
Elizabeth Bathory,
AKA Countess Dracula.
One of the changes that I wanted to do to the story was to change the male vampire for a female vampire based on the Elizabeth Bathory mythology.
Well, she's another one that people might suggest Dracula was based on.
Ready to begin?
She was known as the Blood Countess.
She's known as the most prolific serial killer in history. She was responsible for the deaths of 600 girls and young women, and it is thought that she bathed in their blood.
Even the most psychotic sort of serial killer would be hard-pressed to sort of hit those kind of numbers.
Elizabeth Bathory was a 16th century Hungarian countess who was very, very powerful for her time.
She's one of the key figures in European history who sort of epitomizes all the excessive abuses of power.
Completely devoid of any empathy, compassion, or sense of other people.
She was killing peasants, she was killing virgins. There were no consequences to her actions, so I felt that always a fascinating story.
Tonight I will bathe in the blood of a virgin.
She got it into her head that that's what she had to do to keep her youth. She used to slit their throats and let their blood drain into her bath.
Her vanity led her to that place.
I think she was obsessed with living forever and being young and beautiful forever.
so quite a sinister character, I'd say.
It seems like you couldn't comprehend a woman actually being able to do that.
People don't generally think of women being capable of such heinous crimes.
Look out! And cut.
That's what we're suggesting in this film, is that she is Dracula. She's the origin.
Get back, you creature of the night!
In Victorian times particularly, her legend became a cautionary tale to warn against the vanity of young women. The earliest known portraits of Countess Bathory show her with big ears and kind of a long nose and a sad expression. But as new versions of her portrait have appeared over the centuries, the painters have given her somewhat more conventional beauty.
I do think that Elizabeth Bathory was part of Stoker's original idea because of the legends that grew around her existence.
Countess Bathory's legend has grown to such immense proportions that she now has become this larger-than-life character.
I think that's what makes this film quite different, actually.
It's a vampire film, but it's flipped because the vampire is a woman, and women are very different from men when they're being domineering and powerful. There's something more manipulative, seductive, sly and shrewd. which makes it all the more scary.
If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead already.
It's also the most gorgeous vampire ever seen.
Welcome to Fright Night for real.
I know you liked what
Y
you
tus
saw.
trailers. Visita mi canal.
She's one scary woman.
She certainly epitomizes everything we think about vampires. She was monstrous within and beautiful without.
So is she the true Dracula?
Is it possible that Countess Bathory was or still is a vampire?
I would say, well, that's still up to interpretation.
To this day, her final resting place has never been found.
Happy hunting.
Who was Dracula? Some people say he's a fictional character in books and movies. Historians would say that he's Vlad the Impaler, 15th century Romanian tyrant, known for torturing his enemies. But what if he was somebody else? Somebody else from history who was equally brutal and sinister? What if the Count was actually a countess? The infamous Countess Elizabeth Bathory. I'm famed monster hunter Peter Vincent, and I've recovered evidence from places you wouldn't even dream of visiting. Join me as we investigate who the real Count is, and does he or she roam among us? We start our investigation with Poignard Castle, home of Vlad the Impaler. Join me, will you? We found another entrance, so it could be a secret passage at the back of the castle. Oh yeah. This is all original. There's a room here. Can you hear that? Now what I got in my hand is a paranometer. It detects ultrasonic frequencies that are too high for the human ear to hear. Like how bats communicate. If you come into this, whoa, this could be a chapel, just from the acoustics alone. It's amazing. Look, up here. That's a bricked up passageway. That's either for defense, keeping something out, or keeping something in. Okay, now it's like nothing I've ever heard before. Let's see if it picked it up. It did. All right, this is a waveform that I picked up with my paranometer. Listen to this. Let's listen to that in reverse. That's not like anything I've ever heard. But what it is it's definitely evil. Let's move on. What happens when we head up this staircase? Find out on the next Fright Night. I'm famed monster hunter Peter Vincent, and I've recovered evidence from places you wouldn't even dream of visiting. So join me as I investigate whether Count Dracula still roams among us. We start with Poignard Castle, home of Vlad the Impaler. Join me, will you? We're back inside Poignard Castle, in search of the spirit of Vlad the Impaler. I discovered this. It's obviously a trap door leading to somewhere. There's all sorts of secret passages in this area. Whoa, what was that? Watch this here. There's no technological explanation for it. It's not lights, it's not the camera. We looked at everything. The only thing we can come up with is that something is upsetting that electrical field and the camera's reading it. Oh, the I saw a shadow jump to that from over here to over there. We're definitely close to. Dead end. And this place gets to your head. There's a presence here. It's evil, and it's dark, and I can feel it. And it's not like anything I've ever felt before. Next, we head to Cashdee's castle, home of Elizabeth Bathory. Is that the real Count Dracula? Find out on the next Fright Night. I'm here outside Cashdee's castle. During the 16th century, gruesome and unspeakable acts of horror were carried out here by Countess Elizabeth Bathory within these stone walls. Could she be the real Dracula? Or worse still, could she still inhabit this place? We're gonna find out tonight on Fright Night. We're inside Cashdee's castle. I don't know where this door leads. Let's find out. It's quite a room. The archway at the top. Look, this other door. Wait. What is that? You hear that? Sounds like water dripping. A wave. Of course. This is the bathhouse. This is where Elizabeth would bathe in the blood of virgins. It's gotta be it.
Y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
Whoa. That ain't water. This must be the gynecium, where young female virgins were housed, protected from the men. These girls thought they would have a privileged life among royalty, but ultimately became their prison as they awaited their terrifying demise. There's the chalice. It must be Elizabeth's.
See, I don't know what that is. I thought my cameraman pulled me back. I thought the wires got snagged, but it was with such force that it threw us both to the ground. It was strong and it was powerful, and all I do know is that it did not want us there.
Where are you? Over here. What just happened? Are you okay?
Oh, something grabbed me. I don't know what it was. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
What happens when we dig deeper down into the depths of the castle? Find out on the next Fright Night. We're outside Cashdee's castle. During the 16th century, acts of unspeakable violence were committed by Elizabeth Bathory within these stone walls. Could she be the real Dracula? Or worse still, could she still inhabit this place? We're gonna find out tonight on Fright Night. We're now in the basement of Cashdee's castle. This is Elizabeth Bathory's domain. This is the place where hundreds of young girls were lured with the promise of schooling and work. Only to be imprisoned, torture, and death. Door. My light's gone. You go ahead of me. My light's off. Is there enough room in there? What's going on in there?
Something's in here!
What happened? What happened? What was it?
What's that?
You got cut. You all right? That's what happens. You all right? If somebody likes you.
So who was Dracula? We may never know. Some evidence points to Vlad the Impaler. Other evidence points to Elizabeth Bathory. But one thing's for sure. Dracula was real. The question is this: is he still around? Or is it a she?